Boom. All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the fourth episode of the Shahs Rewatch that I've been doing with our dirties. We have a fantastic, one of my favorite dirties is here with us this week. And I don't want to butcher your last name. And Joe is like, he's a lot bigger than me. So I don't want him coming after me either. So how would you pronounce your last name?
Szutanyi. A lot
Come
easier than
again?
it looks.
Come again? One more time?
Szutanyi.
Oh
It's
wow. Okay,
Szutanyi.
I wouldn't come anywhere close to that.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than it looks.
Oh yeah. That's what she
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
So listen, it's great to have you here. Just a little background on Ann. Well, Joe and I used to shoot the shit about the Mets. And obviously he's one of those husbands. I don't really watch reality TV, but my wife watches. So then I kind of watch it. And I noticed you like the Mets, and we started talking about the Mets. And then your son was coming home, I believe, from leave, right?
Yes, he was coming.
And I love my Met fans. I love anybody that's is proactively endorsing my wife and I. And you guys have both always been great with us. So I made the gesture of buying your son a jersey, a Met jersey. And so Joe was just very appreciative. And from that point on, we kind of clicked a little bit more. And then when we did our show in New York, you guys drove very far to come to our live show, which we really appreciate. And you guys are great. Like I said, Joe is the size of a house. So it was like we had security there too. It was great. It was great. Yeah. We needed security too with how much I was drinking. But then you guys came to a Met game with us too.
Yes.
We had a real blast. So like when the dirties out there, when you guys understand, or when you hear that we say that, you're a family and that we really appreciate you guys, I really hope that, that's something that really doesn't sound like everybody says, or if it does, that you just know that we really believe it too. Because anytime I go back to New York, I'm always letting Joe know. And if he's available to get together, he can. If he can, he can't. But he's a friend of mine. Ann's a friend of mine. You guys are friends, fans, first, fantastic, but friends first. And I genuinely appreciate you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate you both. We definitely do. We have fond memories of hanging out with you guys for those 2 days. Hope to do it again.
Awesome. So without kissing them or tooting my horn anymore, or patting myself on the back anymore, let's get into the show, man. So let me ask you this: where are you on the and obviously some things I know, some things we're gonna have this conversation like I don't know anything, right? So what, like, reality TV? How big a reality TV fan are you?
Pretty much very big on reality. Pretty much everything Bravo. Definitely all the Housewives. Below Deck is a big one for Joe. Absolutely.
Joe's watching Below Deck. Oh, yeah, who
knew? He was a boat owner for 25 years. So
that explains it. Okay.
We actually saw
What's
them
your
filming
favorite show?
Now, I have to say, of course, I'm a Vanderpump fan.
Okay.
Always was with that also. Like a lot of different ones. I loved Shahs, just because it was different back then, back in, it's been 12 years ago now.
Yeah, a long time.
So, and I love learning about different cultures.
Yeah.
That was like my biggest draw to watching Shahs.
And where are you from?
I'm from a little town called South Amboy in New Jersey. It's 1 square mile big.
Okay.
Both my parents born and raised. It was in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the most amount of bars in 1 square mile.
What type of place?
Yes. But I'm really from the town called Sayreville, and I actually went to high school with Bon Jovi.
Really?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever take your top off for him?
No.
No, you kept the twins in? You kept the twins in, huh?
You're crazy.
All right. Okay.
He was a year ahead of me in school.
Okay. Oh, there you go. If you were the same year, it would have been on.
Oh, you know what? You
Yeah,
never know.
obviously.
You
He'd
never
be
know.
living on a prayer, all right. Um,
Oh,
so
God.
as far as what would you say like your your favorite, like who are your favorite Bravo celebrities?
Well, if we're talking about Shahs, that's one thing, and we're talking
Yeah, no,
about,
I'm
but
talking just
it's
yeah.
like
I mean,
I like.
obviously, aside from me, obviously,
Yes,
I get it.
okay.
You know what I mean? But yeah, you don't have to use Shaw's. Believe me, I
Yeah,
know them
I
all. They don't
love
have to be a favorite either. My wife,
I
she's all right.
love
She's not that great.
Sheena's one of my favorites from
Okay,
Vanderpump. I always liked her. Of course, I like Ariana even more now than I did before.
okay.
Um, you know, I like, below deck different people, the housewives,
Now, are
we
you primarily Bravo?
what was that?
Are you primarily Bravo or
Primarily Bravo, yes,
okay?
primarily Bravo. The only other one I'd say probably was Jersey Shore because they're from our area. Um, we actually got to, we've met Sammy. She actually
Okay,
lives in my town. We met
okay.
her at a fundraiser, and we didn't watch it when it was originally on. We
The
kind of got
reboot.
involved in it more
Okay.
afterwards.
Yeah,
But
they're a little bit more grown up now.
yes,
Yeah, when
exactly.
you the first go around, it was kids just getting crazy at the shore. Now they're a little bit
Exactly.
more grown up, so you can identify a little bit more with it.
Exactly. So we keep up with it now.
Now, as far as Shaw's is concerned, what do you? So, just to let everybody know, we're gonna rewatch, or we're gonna go over episode 4. But you've rewatched all 4 episodes up to this point.
Yes.
What are you
Yes.
thinking? Like who you liking, who you don't like, and try and keep out where everybody ended up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm just talking about like your initial visceral, like what are your initial instincts about everybody?
Well, originally I was drawn to of course I love MJ because she's very down to earth and she's always, I think, has been.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I originally was intrigued by Gigi because she brought it, it was a little
Okay.
crazy.
Okay.
But I have to tell you, episode 4 is where I realized like she's really out there when she was naming her knives and named her taser, and that's
Yeah.
when I started saying like, okay, she's like a little farther out there than I even thought.
or remembered, right?
Yeah,
Like, oh, what the heck's this nut
exactly.
talking about? Um,
Exactly.
now
Exactly.
I know how much you're into beefcake, and you didn't get a lot of Mike in this episode. So
I I
I
have
was
to
gonna
tell
do
you,
this. I was gonna do this Zoom with my shirt off to kind of, to lighten the
I
load for you a little bit,
I
but
have to tell you, I was never a fan of his.
really,
No, I don't like the guys that are stuck on themselves.
okay.
I
And
just don't like
well,
that.
that's
I
he's kind of stuck on himself.
ah,
He's kind of stuck on
it kind
himself.
of like, to me that's a big turn off when
Okay.
they think they're God's gift to every woman that's out there.
So this is even prior to, because like we all know, Mike's really been run through the ringer, deservedly so, over the last whatever year or so.
Hmm.
This is even prior to that. Your opinion of Mike
Yes.
was always kind of like, I'm good, because
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Joe doesn't really strike me as the playboy,
No,
type of
no,
self. So I kind of
he's
understand it.
Joe's more like, you didn't see that when you met him, but he's a biker.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, like that's
Yeah,
what it's.
that's the antithesis of Mike. It's
Yeah,
kind, yeah.
exactly.
Joe's a lot more rugged than Mike for sure,
Joe, yeah,
100%.
Joe, he lives in a Harley t-shirt, and and that's about it. I have to ask him to put on a polo shirt to go out sometimes. Like, can you take the
That's
Harley shirt
my
off?
guy. That's
You
my
know,
guy.
but I've always liked more of uh, a blue collar worker type of guy than a white collar.
That makes
I
sense.
mean, I like somebody that works and makes a living doing a harder job, job, not the type that dresses up for work every day.
That doesn't
That's
really.
that's
That
just not
doesn't
my
really work.
thing.
That doesn't really work much. You know what I mean?
I mean,
The
it's
hardest part of their day was getting dressed for work. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's like I liked Reza from the beginning
Okay.
just because, and he definitely knew exactly what to do to
Yes.
be
Yes.
important to
That's
the
the
show. Like,
one reoccurring theme that I felt through all these episodes is that he definitely understood the assignment. He knew exactly what he was supposed to be
absolutely.
doing. all the time. Like even you take
Absolutely.
this episode, for example, to me, so far, least favorite episode. Not a lot happened. Was really kind of like, you know what I mean? Like they were
Yeah.
trying to create things. That being said, the colonic that he got with my
Oh
wife
my God.
created something from nothing. You know what I mean? That's like, all right, let's, and it's the two of them. You know what I mean? Like
I
my
I
wife,
love I
my
love
wife,
their friendship.
when they went to Vegas and she came down to get in the car, not in this episode, I think it was episode 2, and she's got
Yes.
the rollers in her hair. She gets it. She understands what's going on here, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's not just reality. It's, it's reality to the second power, right? It's
Hmm.
reality with a little bit more flair. And she gets it.
Exactly.
And he does too. And they both understand that you really think that if there was no fucking cameras, they were going to go get colonics, dude? Like that's what his
I
birthday
have
gift was going to be? I know, I'll
I
get you colonics.
I
Obviously, it's because they're filming and they have the show. That being said, though, they leaned in and they, not a lot of people
oh God, no.
would do that. Not a lot of
No.
people are like going to go on international television. And now you can see because of streaming. I mean, they didn't know this then, but it's out there forever, dude. And it's out there
And
for, all over the world for always. And they created a little something out of nothing. I think that um, the and again, I also look at the bigger scope of the show, right? Sammy isn't like, as far as I know, I don't know this for certain because I haven't watched yet, but as far as I know, he's only in the first season. So like doing all of that at Muhammad's house and like and it just seems like a waste because this isn't going to be like you're not even going to be around, bro. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
it
like
was
it's one thing if it was him and Mike building that house, and then you can see it, but it's really just two people that you're never going to really see again. And there's only 6 episodes in the first season,
mhm.
so like it kind of just was like, nah, and the as far as the Gigi, with the naming of the knives, and it's like that stuff annoys me, dude, because it's like you're not that girl, dude. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
was
I get it. I get it that she, that's the persona that she's putting on. But from my experience, like I said, it's more bluster than actual, doing anything. But let me ask you this. When um she goes to sit down with her dad, this is actually, so a plug for people who don't know that I do um, you know, I'm a partner in a digital marketing firm. We sell like websites, search engine optimization, that type of thing. And the restaurant that they went to has been resold. It's still a Persian restaurant, but that guy now is a client of mine. So like I
oh
go to
really?
that restaurant and it's like it's a little surreal when you see it, but
That's
whatever.
that's cool.
What are you thinking when they're sitting down at that dinner or lunch?
I have to tell you, I couldn't believe that at her age, she was still living off of her dad. Like I was surprised that her dad was trying to be strict with her and tell her, you have to stop spending. But you know what? She's apparently not going to, and that's it. I mean,
I'll
it's
tell you what bothered me is that her look of annoyance. Like it looked
oh,
like it was getting on her nerves that they were having this conversation, or that she had to hear this from her father
oh yeah,
as a grown ass woman. You know what I mean? And like
yeah,
it looked to me like she was really perturbed and bothered by the fact that this guy was telling her you can't spend $8,000 a month on clothes.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out like you're shopping for a car for your parents. Like how are you going to pay for it? He's paying for his own car. Like it's because
No, that's the other thing that kind of annoyed me too, because clearly Layla's the one that was driving that ship, right? Layla's the one
absolutely.
had the idea. Layla's the one that wanted to do it. Layla's the one that negotiated. I'm sure Layla was that $1,000. I'm sure that was Layla that was paying it. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And even if Gigi had some money that she was going to contribute, it definitely was not going to be like something where every month she was cutting a check for her half, and every month
Hmm.
like it was like, here, I'll give you some money, but the responsibility of that car loan and lease was all on Layla. But Gigi couldn't
Absolutely.
wait to take responsibility for
No,
it.
yeah,
When,
exactly.
which is like
Exactly.
that.
It's like,
Like it was a little
she's
surreal
like,
to
this
me.
is
Like
from
what's
us. It's from us. It's from
yeah,
us.
but she kept like, "This is from us. It's our gift to you. It's ours." And it's like, hey, what the fuck did you do? I don't even think you got the bow. You know what I mean? Like the bow that was on the car. Those things are like $300. I don't even think you paid for that.
and you could see she lives in a beautiful apartment. I mean, everything is beautiful, and
Top
clothes and
notch.
shoes and everything. And I was like, God, it's when you sit there going, boy, I wish I was born into a family that I didn't have to work.
And,
You know?
and the excuse that like they were always worried that if I'm at work, I'm gonna snap out. Or well, that happens one time, dude. One time, you know what I mean? One time you get into a fight at work, you get fired, maybe you get arrested, you know what I mean? Whatever it is,
Yeah,
all the bad things are gonna happen one time, and then guess what? Go find another fucking job, you know? So, like,
absolutely.
if that really, I'd like to get their father and mother on the podcast because if
It's
that's really the reason, that doesn't make any sense.
no, it
Doesn't make
doesn't.
any
It's
sense. And you're not doing your child any, as a dad now, I could tell you without a shadow of a doubt, you are not doing your kid any favors by doing that for them in their life. You want to help
absolutely.
your kid? Absolutely. You want to give them what you didn't have in life?
Yep.
Absolutely. But there's a level you've created a life and you've brought them into the world. You are responsible for them going out into the world and what happens for them in the and if she can't, I can't, that's on you even more than her, dude.
You're
Because
exactly
Layla
right.
clearly can.
I
Layla
was
clearly
just gonna
can and
say that.
does. I know Layla a long time. Layla's all the things that they showed in that. She's a businesswoman. She's smart. She's got cojones. She's gonna, stand up for herself. She's gonna
Mhm.
so I know that that's there, and I know there are elements of that to Gigi too. It's just this one work ethic spoiledness that it's like, I don't
I
know.
could
It
see
just
if you're like in your early, you're a teenager, or you're, just starting out, but
yeah, no,
well,
this is and listen, obviously, as the show went on, these people started to make money, right?
right,
They all
right.
started to get paid and paid better than they probably would doing 90 other,
Mhm.
definitely more than what Joe was getting. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
definitely got
exactly.
played well for being on TV and they definitely were compensated. But that first season, nobody made any money, dude.
No,
Like
exactly. And
nobody made any money. So that like all that shit's real. Like she's not, you know what I mean? She's not paying any bills. She got her own
no.
apartment. Well, she got all these nine. Like, well, how? You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, like, I don't get it. It's like, especially because in the beginning of it, how do you? I don't know. It's like, what's your secret that you got your parents to pay for all of this? Like, you know what? Because I didn't have those kind of parents. You know what? I worked since I was 16 years old. I mean, like my son, I taught my son from when he was a very young age. He started working when he
Yeah,
was,
no, it's the
young.
perfect example. Perfect example.
You know,
Like he's got to make his way in the world. You do
exactly,
everything you can for the kid, but at some point in
exactly.
time, God forbid, you're not around, Joe's not around. What are you gonna
Yep.
do, dude? You know what I mean?
You
Like
have
God
to be able
forbid.
to take
And
care of yourself.
and obviously we're further down the trough at this point. But at this point in life, God forbid something happens to her parents. What the fuck is she
Yeah,
gonna do, dude? You know what I
you're
mean?
exactly right.
And even
Because
from his stand, like that would freak me out if I were him. It's like it wouldn't even be because obviously one, he has the money, and two, he doesn't seem to really care about the money. It's more like I would be enraged with what are we gonna
yep.
what do you
w-
like you're putting too much pressure on me that
Yes,
I'm always going to be here and I'm always going to be healthy and I'm always going to be able to what happens if God forbid something happens to me or your mother, you know like
exactly.
your stress could kill us, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like that just it's one of the pieces that it's one of the things that frustrates me about
It's
Cheesy.
and it's like it's just teaching responsibility from a young age. Like my son had chores from when he was tiny,
My
I
little guy,
mean,
dude. My little guy, yeah, man. He got to put his laundry away. He got to put his dishes in the
exactly.
dishwasher. The shit that he's when he was that was the thing I was happiest about when he turned 5. It was kind of like, oh, now you can
I
start to do some shit around
I
here, dude.
started I
Yeah,
started at
at
5 years
6 years
old
old,
too.
he's gonna be picking my wife up for when she goes out drinking. You know what I mean? Fuck the
We
Uber.
we
You go
we
get her.
started at 5 years old too. You had a little chore. You know what? It was called put the trash can liner in the
Whatever it
garbage
is.
can when we
But you
take it
want to
out.
know something? He likes it now. Like it gives him confidence. Like he does that.
Yes.
So like it's a necessary thing. And again, it'd be one thing if they had, 5 daughters and they were all like that. And but
Yeah.
like Layla's not, and Gigi is, and I wonder how that all came about, and
Yeah.
the idea that we were so scared she was gonna like freak out on someone is not, that's not a reason, dude. You know what I
No,
mean? That's
because if
not a
you had this behavior when you were a child, you were
yeah.
told what was right and wrong. So
Yeah,
it's
and
called,
and she says she's been in therapy this one, which I highly doubt, because again, any therapist that's worth their weight in anything, you're going to see some progress if you're going to for a long
you're
time.
exactly right.
You know what I mean? You're going to
Exactly.
see something that like, oh, remember 3 years ago when we started coming here and she would like, constantly pick at her eye and now she's a dude. You know what I mean? There's going to be something that well, otherwise fire that fucking guy or
Yeah.
girl and go find someone else because, you
Exactly.
can't just keep, it can't just placate what you're doing. You have to see
Mhm.
yourself get better. It didn't really make much sense to me. As far as Sammy, like I said, Sammy, I know is not going to be around in the second
Yeah.
season. So like, and we're coming to the end of the first season. So, but like he's got to cut the hair, man. Sammy, I love
Oh
you to death, bro. Got to
God.
do it. It looks terrible.
You're
It looks
absolutely right.
terrible.
Just buzz the top at least.
It
Just
looks terrible. And
buzz the top. Okay.
I'm gonna want to throw Vida in a headlock. I know in like season 7 or like my hair looks terrible too because I've seen pictures and that was all her. She kept telling me, "No, no, it looks great. You look like Prince William." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, Vida, okay, okay." And then
I
I got
have
to
to tell
look
you,
at it when they took it, and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck is going on?" And I don't think I've
I
had my hair
love
long since.
I
So, but Sammy, to his credit, has also not had his hair look like that. Like Sammy didn't look like that when I met him. You know what I mean? I would have said something. Like, yo, you got to do something up here, dude. But
rewatching it and seeing like the thing with the with the scarf around the neck
yes,
and
God,
the
like, come
different
on, bro.
hats
What
and
are you doing?
you know.
But just a little inside, back behind the scenes type shit. One of the reasons that they got rid of Sammy was because of what he did in this episode. Do you have any idea what it was?
Um, no, I don't know. Was it because the party was the last episode, right?
Yeah. No,
The party that he
it's
had.
listen. It was real benign. You'd have to
Okay.
know it, like to catch it, to really. When he goes to get my wife those earrings,
Oh yes, yes, yes.
he set that all up, like where he was getting a
Promoting
deal, and then the guys were paying him, and like he was trying to do that a lot. That's no bueno. You
to
know what I
show how
mean?
much money you're
That's no
spending.
bueno. Production doesn't ever want to hear that you're doing that type of shit. Bravo certainly doesn't want to hear it. And that's one of the type of things that he'd be doing. And that's one of the
Yes.
reasons that he got to put.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as Gigi's dinner is concerned, or I should say Gigi's party for the parents, which looked real nice.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
looked real nice. It looked like they really went all out for them, which is cool. I've met the parents a few times. The mother I haven't really talked to that much. The father I spoke with, he's a real super nice guy, man. Super
Yeah.
nice guy. They're very nice people, very inviting, very warm.
Mm-hmm.
I could say that about any of the parents that I've met basically through the
Yeah.
show. They've all been very nice. Well, before we get, because that's how they ended it, right? Prior to that, they have the colonic, obviously,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is very funny. My wife's cute. Um, I got to say, man, so I met or I started talking with my wife right after Pablo died,
Oh,
one of those puppies, and
yes.
I missed Julio because Julio's in. It's Pablo and Julio. Julio was taken by a coyote when we moved out here.
Okay.
So I miss Julio. And then I saw Pablo, and Pablo was pretty cute. He was pretty cute. So they look like a couple of fun dogs. But when Reza comes over for dinner with my wife and Darth Vida, I think you get a little bit of a taste
Oh yes.
of
Yes.
how unconventional Darth Vida is in a lot of ways, you
I
know?
have to tell you, I related to her like Joe's. You don't know Joe's actually first generation on both sides. He's the first
Okay.
generation American born here. Both his parents are immigrants, and
Okay.
his father was a political refugee that
Okay.
escaped Hungary when they were invaded by Russia back in the
Okay.
50s. So my father-in-law has a very thick Hungarian accent, and he, has different ways about him that I relate to with Vida, how, her relationship. And to this day, my husband he's afraid of his father. Still today's actually was his dad's birthday today. They went out and he'll do anything that he has to for his dad.
I saw the
But
pictures too. His father's like half the size.
oh yes, yes, you see that. I
Yeah.
mean, like my son and my husband both tower over his dad.
Giants. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen pictures.
my son was concerned when he was growing up because my dad was only 5'8", and I think my father-in-law is 5'8" also, and he was like, and I'm 5'1", so he's like, I'm gonna have the curse. I'm not gonna grow, you know. But Joe is 6'3" now, and my son is 6'1", so
Yeah, no, those are big boys. Those are
he
big
definitely
boys. I've seen
grew.
photos. Those are
But
big boys.
the different with the cultures and everything, I mean, it's quite
But
funny.
like you said, he's Hungarian, right?
Yes,
But it
yes,
translates. You know what I
yes.
mean? Like she's right. That's one of the reasons, for one, that I think that the show had the success that it did, because even though it's Iran, it spoke to a lot of people that had
Mhm.
relatives coming from other places,
Yes.
and just it because obviously different cultures are different, right? But
Mhm.
there's still some things that are the same. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that Shahs did a real good job of capturing that, like you said, early on in the reality TV experience. Like this is something that was not,
Exactly.
not necessarily new, and you got to see how different cultures were. But it's like, oh
That's
wow, that culture can't be more different than my culture. But at the same point in time, which just happened with her mother, happened with me 2 days ago.
yep,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
And I think that
Families are families.
there's something to be said for that. And that's why Vida is such a, like, because she's not, you know what I mean? Like she's like, you keep expecting her to do the thing that the mother from the foreign country would do, and it's like she doesn't. You know what I mean? Like she completely audibles.
I
And
I love when she walks by a mirror, she checks her
I
hair
can't,
and
can't
makes sure she
help it.
looks good.
Can't help it.
She,
Can't
you
help
know,
it. And
she's always
also,
kept,
there was a bomb
always
kind of dropped
perfect.
in this episode that I'm happy was said, because many times, especially like if you're scrolling the internet or you're looking at posts or whatever, and I've learned now not to care, but like earlier on when this was all new to me, you want to correct people. You know what I mean? Like, nah, you're wrong. It's this. And one of the things that I've seen many a time, as people say that Shams Senior, well,
Hmm.
I mean, Shams is a junior, he's named it, but her
Right.
father, Shams, is the one that stepped out on Vida. And that's why Vida has this, feel of marriage and blah, blah, blah. And, it's because like she's been, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
It was the other way around. Because like that bothers me, because again, Shams was, when you talk about hopelessly devoted to someone, like to the day he died, he loved Vida so much. Like even when he was at his sickest and he couldn't really communicate and whatever, she'd walk in a room and his eyes would open, and like you could see him, like he loved her very, very, very
Hmm.
much. And she just, she's a very, I'm sure someone that was into astrology would be able to tell me the type of sign she is, because she's just very into, like, she just never was about conforming and fitting into the box that you put her in. My wife also made, I mean, I know it, it's something that I know about, but she said it recently. When she said it, it really drove home to me about her being the baby of the bunch. Like, I think she has 4 or 5 brothers and sisters, and she was the youngest. And there's an element in her behavior, even now to this day, that you could see from that. Just like, like they babied her. So it's always about her first. Like it's about what, like her happiness and what she wants to do, and whatever first. She doesn't think of other people before her, even her daughter. You know, it's not to say she doesn't love MJ. I'm just saying she's more concerned
Mhm.
with herself first. So like even when they were talking about, and she's not a big fan of women, dude. She's not. Like if you ever, give her a scenario and whatever, 99 times out of 100, it's the guy, like the woman's fault. She must have, even with shit that's gone down with Mike, oh, had to be the other person. You know what I'm saying? And so when you hear her like Rez is unburdening himself at this dinner because his father was a philanderer and
Yeah.
she's just like, let him have at it. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead. And you can see my wife and Reza, and again, knowing that they're filming a reality show, right? So it's not just those three people in a room. There's
Mhm.
camera people,
Oh,
there's,
yeah.
other people there's mic guys. And I know that they must be sitting there thinking like, it's gonna be real easy to land this plane. Just be like, and she's over here like, nope, let him walk around with his dick out. You know what I'm saying? And they gotta be like, what, lady? What are you talking about? And so it was interesting to see that. And you saw there's a shot where you see Vida get a sly, like she knows something that everybody else in the room doesn't know, smile to her face because she knows she just kind of blew their heads up, which was funny.
Yeah, I mean, I have to tell you, I love the devotion that you as well, I mean, later, when you were on, but with MJ, even though her mother can drive her crazy sometimes, it's still her mother. There's the
Yes,
respect there. And you know what?
you only get
I
one.
think,
You only
you
get
know what?
one. Mine was gone when I was 13. So
Yeah.
trust me when I tell you, there's going to be days, there's going to be moments as
Yes.
big a, and my mom was great. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, like, even if you take the worst mother in her or whatever, there's going to be days and there's going to be moments that you're going to be like, I wish I had my mom to fucking
Yeah.
tell me I shouldn't be wearing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have to tell you, I understand completely. My father, I had my father, well, as he was until I was 13 also.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom later, in life. But my mother-in-law is an immigrant also. And very much I can say like on a parallel with Vita. She was like the youngest of like 10 children.
Okay.
And only her sister and herself came to this country. Her whole
Okay.
family is still in Ireland,
Oh,
and it was a lot about parallels of, what it was, without saying too much, what
yeah.
he came
No, and I think
first.
there was an element of
She
like,
always came first.
I think Vita still yearns for the day, like pre-revolution Iran, where like her friends were down the block and like she could,
Yeah.
like she still talks of that like with reverence, like she still, you could tell that she still misses that,
Hmm.
and but she's also, like I said, she's also a she's adapted the best that she can. She's definitely
Hmm.
a modern woman in every sense of the word. She, holds herself to a very high regard. She looked a little chubbier in this fucking one. I got to be honest. Looked like she lost some pounds. I give her a lot of shit now because she stuffs her face like she's going to the electric chair sometimes, and with shit, But this episode, she looked a little beefier than she does now. I got to admit, her face looked a little fatter. I got to tell her that because I know she couldn't wait to tell me something like that. So next time I can see her, I got to be like, you
I
slimmed down
just,
since then. You look like a little bit of a porker in that episode. But
I just, I can't imagine what it was like for people to come to our country and, as an immigrant. I
I
can't imagine how hard things had to be. I mean,
especially, in like my lifetime, your lifetime. You know what I
right.
mean? Like if you go back to the 20s, 30s, a lot of people were coming in from all over.
Yes.
So, you kind of just you went into your neighborhood or where your other
Hmm.
people of your like were. But as like time progressed, there was less likely, there was less immigrants coming in, and like you said, man, it definitely had to be real tough. It had to be real difficult. Obviously, I'm sure they were um, you know, treated better than most because that's how they were able to get out. Most of the Shahs that you hear from, most people had some sort of affiliation or some sort of relationship with the Shah or people of his kind. That's how they were able to get out because they were killing everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So they
that's
came in. It was like you know, you look at some of these immigrants coming in here now, and they're coming from very poor countries, and they have very, very little, and they, you know, they don't have a lot of knowledge on anything. Where
Mhm.
those Iranis that were coming were professors, they were doctors, they were lawyers, they were accomplished, they were people that had money. That's why they came in and bought up a ton of real estate, because they had shit.
Yeah.
Most people, when you come here, they don't really have much. They
No.
actually
Mhm.
did. That's why I think that it was easier for them to come here, and within, you know, a generation all thrive, because they started like with a little bit of a head start than you
Mhm.
know, other people coming in.
I
But
see.
as far as the party goes, um I have to, you know, one of the things that really to this day bothers me, and I've come to grips with it, because it's kind of like, you know, what is that old parable about the scorpion and the frog, and they're going across the water, and then the scorpion tells him he's not going to sting him, and then he does sting
Oh,
him, and he says, "Why'd you sting me?" He says, "Because I'm a scorpion. That's what I do."
yeah.
And it's like my wife being late.
Oh,
It's just what, you know, it's just what she does. And like, I'm at a point, like I said now, where I kind of, I'm not going to say that it never bothers me, because sometimes it does. And I'm
yeah.
someone that's early, dude. Like, you know, I don't like that shit. Um,
I'm the same
it
way.
bothers me, you know? So like, because I'm not going to make an Irish exit anyway. You know what I mean? So you can't make the Irish exit
Yeah,
if fucking everybody just saw you walk in. You know what I mean?
you're
Like,
right.
the Irish exit only works if you're on time. You got to be on time there so that you can leave and no one knows, you know? But when you're fucking making a grand entrance to every place you're in because you're late, it's very difficult to do the Irish exit.
Yeah,
Plus,
you're
she
exactly
just
right.
got there. So now she never wants to fucking leave early, because it's like, but yeah, that's one of the things that, and 3 hours, man, I don't
Oh,
cut you
yeah.
a lot of slack a lot of times. I'd be pissed, dude. I'd be
Yeah.
pissed too. I'd be
I
pissed.
don't think I think if I was 3 hours, I don't know if I'd even want to. I'd be
Why
like
go? Why
embarrassed to
go?
show up.
Yeah, why go, man? Why go?
That's
And there's another problem with my wife, and it's a Persian thing too. Um, the assessing of blame. You know what I mean? Like right away, instead of just being like, you know, whatever, they got ahead of me. It
yeah,
was other
exactly.
people's fault. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh,
like she
I hear you.
told Asa she was going to pick her up, and then it
Oh,
became Asa's fault that she like, why would I go to Venice to get you? It's like, you told me you were gonna. You know, what the fuck?
I was
Yeah, I know it doesn't make
yeah,
any sense. Why would
I
you
was
say
I was
it?
surprised that Asa even went. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't even think,
Yeah, she
because
didn't have to. And
no,
listen,
exactly.
that could be a production thing, just to,
Yeah.
you know, again, behind the curtain. That could be a thing where my wife is like, yeah, you know, because when she's going on, I'm willing to bet now someone is with her while she's getting changed. They might have cameras on her, and it might not be used ever. But like someone's telling her, because my wife's lying through her teeth. Yeah, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Someone might be like, yo, he's far from 20 minutes out, dude. You
You're
know?
right.
Yeah. And like someone would just be like, you know what, Asa, you should probably go ahead, go by
Exactly.
yourself. We'll get MJ in later. Again, I don't know if that's what happened. That's
Yeah.
just what my gut would tell me. That, you know, I'm sorry, my alarm went off. I'm grateful for my
Oh,
wife. I'm grateful for my mother. I'm grateful for my son. I'm grateful that we're all healthy. I'm grateful for you, Ann. I'm grateful for Joe. All right, back to business. Um, yeah, I think that um, production
yeah.
might have played a little bit of a part in that. Plus, they probably didn't want to lose two people at the party, because again, Reza already had the blind date. Mike, so it was just Mike. You know what I mean? So I think they wanted someone else there from the show.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it's just, you know, um,
Exactly.
yeah, they like that's one of those tent poles that they're looking for
Hmm.
everybody to kind of be there. But you know, my wife being late like that kind of
Oh my God.
dredged up some shit in me. It's like, oh man, it's fucking late.
Is she still
And then,
late? Is she still late now?
oh,
Like, or is she better?
she's listen. Is she 3 hours late? No.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's
Well,
like you
that's
told her she thinks she's probably way better than she used to be. Okay, cool. That's like someone that used to be a fucking serial killer that now just, you know, every now and then hits someone with their
yeah,
car.
right.
You know
I
what I
only
mean?
kill I only kill once a year instead of
Yeah, yeah,
every
yeah,
week.
yeah. I only kill deer now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, all right,
I
well,
like
you're
I've
still
always
murdering
been
someone
one
once
like
yeah,
take
you're still
ownership.
murdering.
Like with my son when he was young, I used to tell him if you lie, I'm going to find out. So take ownership of it now, because if I when I find out you're lying, punishment's gonna be twice as bad as it
Yeah,
was.
absolutely. Since we just had this conversation, it's probably going to be even 3 or 4 times worth. And I'm going to get Big Joe. you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. So no, I get it.
take ownership, I mean,
Yeah,
and I have to tell you, my son is neurotic. My son was the ones that he would get out of school all the time. My son suffered from migraine since he was 3 years old.
okay.
So I never did. I didn't know what the symptoms, other than if you're vomiting, of course, yeah, I know. But he
Yeah.
used to play the game like, oh, I have a headache, I have a headache. So as he got older, I started taking the video game controller with me to work. And he'd be like, well, why? And I'm like, oh, because if you're that sick, you can't play games.
For sure. And I'm playing at work.
You know what? He knew
Yeah.
exactly how many days he's been out of been out of school. He knew exactly how much farther he could push it. But guess what? He's been in the military for 3.5 years. He's never missed a day.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
good boy. That's a good kid you
because of
got there.
that. Because and I said, you know what? When you're an adult, you have to be an adult.
You
You have
have
to be
to.
accountable.
You have to.
Accountability.
No one's got time for that other shit, dude. You know what I mean?
Accountability. You know
And
what?
but that's why to me it was also, you know, like I didn't like that my wife was saying, well, I'm out there, you're living on daddy's dime and I'm out there hustling. Because I don't, maybe she was working that day, maybe she
Yeah,
wasn't. I don't know.
exactly.
You're late a
Exactly.
lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not, it's not always because of work, dude. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Here
I,
and
but I,
there is one thing.
yeah, and I did think it was a little, ironic that Gigi is telling her, like, you have to have your priorities straight. And like, you
Yeah.
should be on time, like, lady,
Oh yeah.
pot me kettle. What's going on here? This
No,
is bizarro
exactly.
world.
Exactly. I have to tell you, like MJ, she has a lot of patience for other people too. Like, you know what? Um,
Well, I think that comes from her mom, dude.
I mean, she
Dealing with her
definitely,
mom. I think it has to come with her mom because at some point, it's like a boxer, dude. You can be the toughest guy on earth, but eventually you're going to punch out. You're going to get
yeah,
tired. You're not going to be able to keep throwing them fit. So I think at some point in life, she just became, like easy. I could deal with this nut because I've been dealing with a nut.
yeah. I
So I
mean,
think that
I
because
like
she's like
that.
that with Shams too. She's like that with Shams very much. So she's very patient with him. Stuff that I don't
That's
have. Not to say I don't have the patience for, but I just feel like, you kind of want to nip in the bud a little faster, or, she's very easy with him like that, which is good because
that's good.
I'm not, so there's a good blend.
Yeah, that's how you make a relationship work, and that's how you raise a child. Because I've always been the disciplinarian. I've always been the
Really?
one that was, oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm the tough one.
Okay.
I've been the tough one raising, our son and stuff. My husband was more of the pushover and stuff because honestly, he's like, it's no big deal. It's okay. And I'd be like, what? Are you kidding
Yeah. Well,
me?
I'm you in in our relationship. I'm the one that got to put the hammer down a little bit. I'm the one that's,
It's
you know, but listen,
yeah.
it also helps. Like it makes your job easier to have Joe there. You know what I
Oh,
mean? You can be the
absolutely.
disciplinarian because fucking like I'll tell your father. You know what I mean? And it's not
Yeah.
like it's kind of like with her too, where it's like don't tell dad, I'll tell your father. So there's an
Yeah.
element of that. I know I missed. And again, that my mom wasn't around. Like she died young, but even prior to that, she worked her tail off, dude. She worked really hard, 6, 7 days a week, and a company that today is Verizon, but started off smaller. And
Mhm.
she worked her way up. She really did, and I'm sure there was guys playing to play grab ass, and getting a. I'm
Yeah,
sure
right.
it was real difficult for her, but she didn't have that. So when she came home, she wanted to be easy, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and I didn't make things easy. I was bad. I was getting in trouble, and you know what I mean. Some had 90% she didn't even know about. And so like I didn't have that someone to check me, dude. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like I have the utmost respect for single mothers, dude. It's real
I agree
difficult
with
to
you.
make but it definitely is not the way it should be done, dude. Like I think that you need that other. I don't care. You could be a gay couple. I don't care.
Mhm.
You need two people. You need someone there that's going to put the hammer down. And you
Absolutely.
can't be good cop, bad cop, both person being the same thing. You know what I mean?
You
It's
have
real
to
difficult.
support each other. You
Yeah,
really have
like if
to.
you have, because again, my mom might have had a bad day and I just don't want to fucking fight with the kid today. So I'm going to
Yep.
do something, but that sends me a wrong message, right? Now it tells me,
Yeah.
I could do, where you have to have that checks and balances. I just, I think that's real necessary thing to do. Um, and it's something that I think it's important. And
Mhm.
speaking of parenting and fucking dating, whatever, when they went on the date with Reza and the blind date, obviously I never saw that guy before, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the second he walked in, I'm like,
It was
this
like,
shit ain't
oh,
working.
he's
This,
like a little kid.
yeah, he
He's a
really,
little
like
kid.
the rest is credit. The rest
It
is
was like,
credit. He
I was
definitely
like, are you
seemed like
kidding me?
they caught him outside, like he was waiting for the bus to
And
go
that's the
home from
reason why
fucking
you don't,
practice.
like blind dates. I mean,
Yeah, man. Like the
I
real
mean, I
blind
know
date didn't show, so they got this kid. You know what I mean? Like it was very.
it's like
It was,
it's like I can't imagine how it's got to be hard because like I know how you and MJ met. I mean, like quite funny. Joe and I met. We many years ago. We've been married for 25 years, so I mean, so close to 30 years ago. He walked into a bar at 2 o'clock in the morning, like in a 2 o'clock in the morning state
okay,
with his Harley outside.
and
I
you
was
hopped
dancing
on.
with some friends. I was
Yeah.
dancing with some friends, and the music stopped, and we all went to sit down, and he came in and got on his knees and started like dancing with me. And I'm
Well,
like looking at my friends like,
who's
who's
this
this
nut?
guy?
Yeah,
He's on his knees and like almost my height. And guess
absolutely.
what? The next day, he didn't remember doing any of it.
Yeah.
Didn't you remember meeting me? And he was pretty scary looking back then too, you know? But you never know.
But again, you guys at least looked age appropriate. Like Reza and this guy
Yes.
did not
Oh
look age
God, yes.
appropriate.
Oh my God.
Um, so
He
yeah,
looked like
I was not surprised
he
that
didn't even look like he was 21. He looked like
yeah,
a little kid.
yeah, he looked like a little kid. He did.
Yeah,
He did.
it was a
So
big mismatch.
going to like, because obviously where a lot of these people end up, right?
Yes.
You know where
Yes.
they end up. Um, where do you like who are you most interested to
I
see
like
on the ride again?
I like the friendship between MJ and Reza. I
Hmm.
like that they have each other's back and they're really supporting each other. And right then, I like their closeness.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
say this too. This is the first episode because again, you got to understand from my perspective, right? She's my wife. She's the mother of my kid. And
yeah,
since I fucking met her, I've heard how Reza and MJ have magic together. It's Reza and MJ that, you know what I mean? Where it's like,
yeah,
just blow my head off, dude. I'm tired of hearing it, right?
yeah,
And the first few episodes, I didn't, this is the first episode where I get it. This is the first
yeah.
episode where I see it. Where like when they're in that walk together, you
Hmm.
can see there's a comfortability between them. That they're you could see that chemistry that people have always told me about.
Yes,
This is the first episode you kind of see that, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah.
Of the three so far, and this one, this is the first one that you kind of see that element of it. I also think this might be the first time that production saw it. You know what I'm saying? Where it was like,
Mhm.
oh wow. Not to say that this might be the first time that they said we have to push that. They've seen it. You know what I mean? They've seen it
Yeah.
already. It might be even off camera or stuff that never even made the show. They've seen it, but I think this is the first time where it's like, let's drive that home because I think we got something here.
You could see that they're genuine friends before the
Yeah,
show.
because again, remember
That's
the nucleus is Sammy. The
yeah.
nucleus was always Sammy. He's the first. And then everybody was supposed to stem off him. And obviously, that somewhere in the wash, that came out. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And what really manifested or what really happened was that this Reza MJ
Absolutely.
came about. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
and I think that this is the first episode you kind of get a little bit of a taste of that. I'm sure you'll get more of it going forward.
Right.
But the last thing, and I don't want to like Sasa broad annoys me, man. Like she
Oh,
annoys me. Like the
I
house
have to
she's
tell
living
you,
in, the
what
house she's
annoys
living in
me,
is in Venice. It's 2 blocks from the beach. It's a fucking, it's like a $4 million
it's
house. She got in a divorce that nobody talks about.
no,
They-
what annoys me about her is from the beginning, she talked about how those people are materialistic and this and that, but yet she's always shown driving her Mercedes and driving this and fancy that. Like, it's like you're just as much. Like, you know what?
Yeah, but you're worse because you're saying it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like they're not saying it. You're saying it. You're
Yep.
saying that they're bad, but
And
then you are doing it. So that's
she,
hypocritical to me. You
yep,
know,
she
and
was
again,
trying to sell a
yeah, but
product.
so
Like,
with the fucking music, you know
oh
what I
my
mean? When
God.
she's talking about like, no, it's just what's important to me. I'll never sell it out for money. It's just this is
Oh
what
yes.
I met the broad. She wasn't doing any music, dude. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're a musician or you're not. You know what I mean? There's
No,
like,
well, then, like with the diamond water, how she made sure she said, "Oh, and it's very expensive." Like,
yeah,
you know what? Like, are you crazy? Like, why? It was
yeah.
like exactly. She was trying to get something that
She's
she
trying
could
to sell something from
advertise.
jump.
She was trying to sell. Like she took off early in this show of how to do merchandising while you're on a TV show.
Oh, for sure, for sure. She
She
could write a
really,
she could write a fucking, you know, there's courses for everything now, right?
yep,
She could definitely have a course that if you're ever on a reality TV show, this is
yep.
how you could capitalize.
Because
And
you see,
again, to her credit, that's not the thing that I'm mad at. Knock yourself out. I commend you. You know what I mean? I wish my wife had some fucking thing that she had a store now that she was selling. That's not it's just very disingenuous to me to put up a
exactly.
front and act like you're better because it comes across as holier than thou.
Yep.
Like you're better, but you're doing the same thing. Meanwhile, like I said, you're just, you know, like you don't give a shit what you're selling, dude. And you're acting like you
Yes.
do. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
if you know, she's trying to get a record deal. Obviously, like in that scene with this guy, like I've been
Oh,
in
and
LA for a long time, dude.
you could just see his disdain, like for her, like
Yeah, like what are we
seriously,
like this?
like
What am I supposed to
is
do with
this
this?
what language is this? Like, you
Yeah,
know
what am I
what?
supposed to do with
What?
this? But
And
I've lived in this town for a long time. Came out here 2008, right? So that's a long time. And I can't even tell you the amount of times that I've been like that guy, not necessarily him in that scene, but like we're like, I'm trying to get laid and I'm in some fucking girl's house that, you know, maybe I worked with her or whatever the fuck I met her, but who she's like really a cocktail waitress, but I'm a singer and like you gotta, this is my music and you gotta listen to her music and you're like
oh.
at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're drunk. You're like, yeah, man, this shit is great, dude. This woo, woo, hit. You know what I mean? Are you taking
Yeah,
time
you got
off or what? Are we playing like are we gonna play some stinky pinky or what? And that's all I'm like in my mind. That's like where I went to, where you're like sitting there trying to appease this broad, and it's like you know, like I said, man, her music was like it was terrible, and you know, I just wish someone would have said, "Yo, man, this sucks," and so she could have moved on to selling the next thing, you know,
yep,
because that's the other thing. She don't take it personal. It's like, all right, I'll get the other thing out there. Yeah, you
yep.
know.
You're
So that
exactly
she's the
right.
only. I gotta admit, through the first whatever, like Gigi's Gigi to me. Gigi's, you know, this is how she is. This personality traits that she has that annoy me. But a lot of that's really not her fault if the mother and father never stepped in on some of these
Hmm.
things. But the one
Right.
person that has continued to irk me through the first 4 episodes has been Asa, because it's like
I
this
I
is
agree with you
bullshit,
there.
dude. You know,
I
this
agree
is
with you there.
nonsense. Now she's
It,
nice. She's nice, and she's not looking to start any beef or any of that. And I get that. You know what I mean? She's just there to kind of sell her. It's like she's like an Avon lady, dude. You know what I mean? She's just there to sell her Tupperware, and she doesn't
yep.
give a shit about what else goes on at the Tupperware party. She just wants to sell some Tupperware. But when you start talking in other people, and you know that it just that annoys me. And from what I've also, this might be getting a little far ahead, but I've also heard, and I do know because I did film with Asa, she does interject herself in people's shit. You know what I mean? And then you can't really talk about her shit. The only thing you can really talk about is her art shows or her fucking like you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like come on, dude. You know, like whatever.
But
You
she
know,
only she picks and chose what she wanted to put out there. Like she never
Yes.
wanted to talk about who her boyfriend was later season, like she didn't want to talk about that connection or anything like that. And it's like because she was promoting something. She was always
But like
had
I
something
said,
new.
she got married and was divorced, and that's how she got that house. That was never talked about on Shahs.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? Meanwhile, everybody's shit was poured out into the
Yep.
street on that show. How does that not come up? You know what I
I
mean? Like, how
you're
does that,
you're
especially
right.
when every sentence is how poor you were and you guys escaped, and it was like how much of a struggle. It's like, how big a struggle was it to get the $4 million house, dude?
Yeah, right.
So like, it's just little shit like that bothers me. But like I said, this was not my favorite episode so far. It was a little, but I did love going over it with you, Ann. It was a
Oh,
blast to go over
it
it
was
with you.
great. I have to tell you, I can't wait to continue watching because I've watched it through all the season twice. I watched it when it was originally on.
Okay.
I kept up with it every week, and then I rewatched it when I brought Joe into it, and he watched it from the beginning. And I was
Okay.
like, "You have to watch this one. You have to watch this." So he watched it all the way through. So
Okay.
then yesterday we watched the four, and it was like, "Oh my God, that's right. This happens. Oh, that's right. This like I'm going to continue watching."
And
It's like,
Joe's seen all the episodes?
"Oh yes, he has."
I might have to
He
have Joe as a co-host for one of
he's
these.
not going to want to admit it because
Okay.
he always says like he doesn't want to
No, I
admit
know
it.
it's the same way he presented it to me when we first started talking. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
No,
really watch any of this shit, but I
he's
just
like
saw you that you're a
he's like
veteran.
I'll kill you if you tell anybody I watch Housewives. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
guess
yeah,
what?
yeah,
I just put it
yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yes, he
yeah, yeah.
does, and
Yeah,
he knows what's on.
that's one of
He
those
knows
vows that they didn't say
he
at the wedding, but that's
he
definitely
knows
true.
what show is on what night. It's like crazy. He's like, okay, it's Tuesday. Okay, well, this one taped because we DVR everything because who wants commercials, you
Let
know?
me find out. All right,
But
yeah. So I listen. I think I might have got Joe to have to do one of these rewatches with
because let
me.
me tell you, if
Yeah, if
if
he's
there's
up to,
if there's not a game on, we're watching
that's the
Bravo.
same with me, man. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with
I
that.
mean, like literally, when I work from home days, the TV is on like Bravo. I think I got him hooked when he's gone through surgery, like during COVID and everything. Like he was out working and stuff like that, but I always had Bravo on in the
No, and the
background.
serial nature of it, it's very, listen, it's one of
Yeah,
the reasons, like when I first met first off, my wife does not take the TV off of Bravo. Like now
yeah,
it's different. Now she doesn't really watch TV and because of the streaming, she watches a lot of it on her computer, actually. Like she'll sit in
yeah.
computer, headphones on, I'll watch Shams or whatever, we'll be watching something and she'll watch her
Hmm.
shit that way. But when I met her, like the TV was on and it was just on Bravo. You know what I mean? It
Yep.
could have been like episode, or rerun of fucking Sex in the
Oh,
City for the 95th
absolutely.
time. It was still on. It was always on Bravo. And these shows, I found myself kind of, and back then Rappaport was really into
Yes.
it, and he was doing a lot of
Yes.
the what's that show with Andy Cohen? The Watch What
Watch what
Happens
happens
Live.
live.
Like he'd
Yep.
be up there a lot. He'd break it down. So it's like giving it a shot. And I found myself kind of, and I had to rip the Band-Aid off. It's like, I can't do this
Yeah.
shit anymore because I found myself like, in going was going on. So I had to remove myself from it, and I still get enough information just knowing from my wife. So I know where Joe's coming from. I
Oh
get it.
yeah.
I get it, especially
He
like if you're hemmed up, or if like you said, you're at home, you're sick, or you
yep.
got a surgery, you're recuperating.
That's exactly a lot of it.
Yeah, man. And the serial
He
nature of it's like you have to see what's next. It's
yep.
not something where you can just kind of put it down and I'll now watch a movie. It's like, no, what
Yeah.
happens next? And so before you know, you haven't shaved in weeks. You pissed your pants. You're sitting in the seat. You got
Um,
red crumbs all over your
there's
face.
times
Yeah,
I'll say to him
you
like,
don't know what Dorinda just did. You know what
haven't
I
you
mean?
seen this season like 10 times already? He's like, yeah, so what? So what?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. All
we were
right.
on
So listen, that's
vacation.
good to know. Next time, I think
Oh
I
yeah,
might
no,
have to have. I might
he's
have to have
he's
Joe do
all
a
of it.
rewatch with me. He might be the first guy to break his cherry. We'll do this together.
I'll tell him that. He'll be
Good,
like,
good,
what
good.
did you
I'll
say?
also, like I said, there's, I think, 140, 160 of these episodes. So obviously,
Yes,
we're going to be doing, I'd love to have you back for one of these as well. You
absolutely.
were
It was
great,
great.
Ann. It's always great to see you.
Great.
Give Joe my love. Give your
I
son my
definitely
love. I
will.
hope everybody's
Thank
happy.
you. Thank you.
Wish your father-in-law a happy birthday for
I
me as
will.
well.
Thank you so much,
And I
Tommy.
hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. It was great. Take
Talk to
care.
you soon, okay?
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.